Erica Aker with ericaAker.com, and I am here today to encourage you and let you know that you have a story to tell. Now, I am a beauty business mentor, and I help beauty industry professionals with their businesses if they want to increase their clientele with loyal clients that they love, increase their income and get paid what they're worth, and also to find balance in their personal life as well as their business life. And amongst other things that I do as a mentor, also in the beauty industry, I am 24 years in the industry, and so I think I have experienced a thing or two when it comes to the beauty industry. And so today I wanted to talk about you having a story to tell. Everyone has a story to tell, whether you believe it or not. So today, I went to a taping today at a studio, and I was very, very encouraged by what I heard. I heard two testimonials, and they were very, very powerful. And one was a Grammy Award winner musician. He played a steel guitar. And he's played with some famous people like Willie Nelson and some other famous, I believe, country artists that I wasn't familiar with, but he was very, very gifted and talented on the guitar. And he talked about his struggles with alcoholism. And his story was very touching because he dealt with being an alcoholic for over 30 years, I believe he said. And he said that he drank at least 72 beers a day, which is the equivalent of 7 bottles of whiskey. So that's a lot of alcohol. And he lived that lifestyle for a while, but he just got kind of tired of living like that. And he just felt like if he didn't quit, he was going to die. He literally looked at himself in the mirror and felt like he was going to die. And so he basically said he got in a room and he knelt down and prayed and asked God to deliver him basically from alcoholism. Yes, I was like that too. And I couldn't believe, that anybody could even drink. I can't even hardly get my 8 cups of water in. I can't even imagine drinking that much. But he got on his knees and he prayed and he asked God to deliver him from that. He was not going to leave that room until he got over that. And God helped him once he made the decision, and the decision came from his mind. And so interesting. And I just know that whenever he goes out to tell people about his story, he's going to have a tremendous impact and a tremendous influence with other people. And that's what it's all about when it comes to your story. No matter what your story is, you have something to tell someone. Second person, she was, I don't know if you all remember, here in Georgia at one of the universities in Savannah, a young man was shot and killed on campus while he was in college, away at college. He was a very prominent athlete, really going places, very smart in school. And his mother was a guest also on this show, and she shared her story concerning his death. And it was just so powerful with how she's dealing with his death. But it really has shown her what her purpose is. And her purpose is to be an advocate for other young people, even in high school and college, as well as their parents. So when they send their kids off to school, you send your kids off to get an education, not to be killed. And so she shared her story, and her story was very powerful, and I just know that it's going to help other people. That is my point with you today, is that you have a story to tell. If you are struggling with your story and you need help with that, you can also go over to my website at ericaAker.com and tell me what your story is. Tell me what you're having to struggle with. Maybe you don't know how to put your framework together to tell your story. And because, again, your story needs to get out. Somebody needs to hear it. So go to ericaAker.com and shoot me an email and just let me know if you need help with that. That's my website address. And just go to the contacts and send me an email if that's something that you're interested in trying to flush out your story. Basically, your life situation, no matter how good or how bad, your story is going to help somebody, anybody. And they're just waiting on you to get out there and tell your story. A lot of people, if they have a bad situation or a bad story, they choose to look at their story in a bitter way. But if you turn it around and try to look at the good that's in your story, you'll see that there is just something that you can share. And when you begin to view it in a positive light, then other people will see that. And I'm telling you, it will touch other people. But it all starts right here. Like I said, it starts in your mind. It starts with how you think about it. You can either think negatively about your story, or you can think of it in a positive way. Now, I've been in the beauty industry for over 20 something years as a hairstylist. And I've heard a lot of women sit in my chair complaining about their hair, whether their hair just doesn't do what they would like for it to do, or it's too thin, or it's too thick, it's too this, it's too that. And I'm hearing these stories all the time with women complaining about their hair. And I sit and I listen. And then once they kind of stop complaining and I chime in, I tell them my story. And my story is that I struggled and dealt with leukemia at a young age where I lost all of my hair. Usually there is a silence there. And as I begin to share my story, I can slowly see the changes in the demeanor of the facial expressions, the attitudes. I can just see that changing as I share my story, because you're complaining about, having a bad hair day, but just imagine someone that doesn't have hair at all to complain about it. They start to look at things a little bit differently when they hear a story like that. I've been in the beauty industry over 20 something years, and even as a mentor and a coach for other beauty industry professionals, sometimes they feel like if they're a hairstylist or if they're a makeup artist or something like that, that they're stuck with being just that. And again, I will listen to them, but then I will begin to tell them my story. And my story was that I got frustrated also being in the beauty industry and wanted to quit, but I felt like I was stuck. I couldn't do anything else. And I decided to go into real estate investing, and that didn't work out for me. When the crash happened, I crashed right along with it because I didn't have enough financial support to sustain me throughout the whole, it's just now slowly recovering. So you're talking about years and years of trying to recover from this. It was during that time that I really began to take a long look and self-evaluate and really look at my life and where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do and what was my purpose. Why was I put here? And that's when I got the revelation of what I was supposed to do in life, what my purpose was. And it was right here in front of me. But because I was so blinded by the frustration that I didn't see it. So when I began to share that story, I can just again see the changes, in the attitude and the demeanor, and really looking at them, and they're thinking, well, if you can do something different and still be in the industry, but do something different that is your life purpose, then maybe I can too. Maybe I'm not stuck in a box like I thought I was. That's what I want to challenge you today, to really think about what your story is. What is it that you have to share with someone else? How can it change someone else's life, no matter what the story is? Like I said, you may not have a tragic situation. You may not have had a death or an addiction to deal with, or a financial crisis go on in your life. You may have had a very nice life, but that's still your story. And your story is going to help someone. The thing is that they are waiting for you to tell your story. They're waiting. They're out there waiting for you. Really think about what your story is. Really, sit and think about how can you share your story. You may not be the type of person that wants to stand on stage and share your story, but you can share your story just in gradual conversation, general conversation with people. You can share your story, and you never know whose life you will touch just by sharing your story. So I challenge you to do that. because it's important. Stories are, yes, very impactful and powerful. And it doesn't matter, like I said, you don't have to have this grandiose story to tell. My story is not grandiose, but the little bit that I have experienced has helped other people. And the same goes for you. Whatever you have dealt with, good, bad, or indifferent, there is something to tell someone. So don't deprive people of your story. Let them know what your story is. And just really, you may not even know the impact that you make, because people are watching you. They're watching you from afar sometimes. They may just, have seen you go through something that you really didn't even need to talk about, but they just saw you go through it. And that story, the way you dealt with it, helped them out. So never be ashamed to share your story. Always just look at it from a positive light and share it in a way where, with the attitude, I don't know if this will help someone today. If it can, I'm going to share it. So again, I challenge you for that. And if you need to flesh out your story and you're not quite sure how to put it in the framework and get it together, just go over to ericaaker.com. Like I said, shoot me an email and just let me know. Just say, hey, Eric, I would like to get my story out there, but I'm just not quite sure how to do it. And maybe you can help me. And we'll talk about it and work through it together. Until the next time, I want you to go and work on your story, okay? I want to thank you for joining me today, and hopefully this information will challenge you to share your story, to get out there and really talk about it and let people know, hey, what have you gone through? What have you experienced? Okay? Until next time, I'm going to wrap it up. I will talk to you again.